Welcome back to Clean Tech Talk. Today we are taking a deep dive into a fascinating industrial report on dry ice blasting machines, which I know sounds super niche at first.
Right, yeah. It sounds like something strictly for the factory floor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it is actually causing this massive shift in sustainable manufacturing. Imagine blasting a delicate, like $50,000 automotive mold with an industrial sandblaster, but you leave zero scratches, zero moisture, and absolutely no waste behind.
Which is kind of the holy grail for heavy industry.
Mm.
But, the catch is the price tag. We're talking about machines that run from $2,000 for a light-duty setup to well over $30,000 for a heavy-duty system.
Yeah, that is a massive initial sticker shock. But for you listening, whether you are trying to optimize your own business operations or you're just fascinated by clever ecotech, the real lesson here is learning to look past that upfront cost.
Definitely. I mean, to understand why the ROI makes sense, you have to look at the physical mechanism. It's essentially an evaporating sandblaster.
Wait, evaporating? How does that actually work without, wrecking the equipment?
Well, you're firing solid CO2 pellets at greasy machinery using compressed air, and they sublimate right on impact. But it's not really the kinetic force doing the heavy lifting here.
Oh, really? It's not just blasting the dirt off?
No, it's actually that rapid expansion. The CO2 goes from solid to gas instantly, and it creates this harmless mini explosion. That physical reaction fractures the bond between the contaminant and the metal, so it just lifts the grease right off.
Oh, wow. With zero abrasive friction, that makes total sense. And because of that zero abrasion profile, the global market for this tech is projected to hit, what, $220 million by 2028?
Yeah, the demand is definitely surging. But, companies still routinely freeze at the starting line because of that $30,000 entry price.
Right, and I actually want to play devil's advocate here for a second. Sure, the zero waste thing is great, but what about the constant running costs?
The operational expenses.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, you are running a massive industrial air compressor at like 80 to 120 psi to shoot these pellets. Plus, you have to constantly buy the dry ice itself. How does taking on those heavy running costs actually save a business money?
It comes down purely to the TCO, the total cost of ownership. You have to contrast those running costs with traditional chemical solvents.
Okay, so what does the actual math look like on the chemical side?
Well, with chemicals, your labor runs about $180 an hour. That's largely due to mandatory safety protocols and hazmat disposal. Plus, you're looking at an average of 6 hours of operational downtime just to clean a section of the line.
6 hours where the factory is basically just standing still.
Exactly. But if you swap to dry ice blasting, your labor drops to about $90 an hour. And the downtime, it shrinks down to just 2 hours because there's no secondary cleanup needed. The CO2 just vanishes.
Right, but you're still paying, what, up to $1.50 a pound for the dry ice?
You are, yeah. It usually runs between 50 cents and $1.50. But even factoring that in, if you use a durable, high-efficiency system like the Aelith machines mentioned in the sources, it maximizes that output.
So when does the ROI actually kick in?
If a facility is already spending over $2,000 a month on manual chemical cleaning, putting up the capital for a dry ice system pays for itself in just 6 to 12 months.
Wow. 6 months is incredibly fast for industrial equipment. But the financial ROI isn't the only reason this shift is accelerating, is it?
No, not at all. The environmental compliance side is a huge driver. The EPA data shows that traditional industrial solvents emit harmful VOCs, which, complicates worker safety and triggers strict regulatory oversight.
And with dry ice, there are no solvents. But wait, aren't you just blasting CO2 into the air?
Well, here's the clever part. You are using recycled CO2 pellets. It's carbon that was already captured from other industrial processes.
Oh, I see. So you're basically giving it a second life for kinetic cleaning.
Exactly. And because it turns into a gas, it leaves zero chemical runoff behind. It makes hitting ISO 14001 compliance almost automatic. It completely eliminates the wastewater issue, which is traditionally just a massive logistical headache for heavy industry.
That is fascinating. It solves the dirt and the wastewater at the exact same time.
It does. And to leave you with something to ponder as this technology scales up and totally removes the need for water and chemical runoff, it changes where we can actually build.
Oh, because you don't need the water infrastructure anymore.
Right. If a manufacturing plant no longer needs massive wastewater treatment facilities, how soon until we see heavy industry moving into arid, drought-stricken regions where traditional factories simply couldn't survive?
That is a wild thought. The whole geographical map of manufacturing could shift just because of how we clean the machines. Well, that wraps up our deep dive for today. And as a special thank you to our listeners, you can now enjoy 10% off your next purchase at AOLIF. Just use the promo code AOLIF2026 at checkout. That's AIOLITH 20266. Don't miss out.